Yeah, exactly. Easton Freeze, he covers the Titans, and he's a beat reporter that covers the Titans for A to Z Sports. Does some great work. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Easton Freeze. Easton, how you doing, my man?
Fellas, you like my studio here, my car, the lot of the restaurant that I'm at. Listen, sorry for the visual here. Sorry for I'm sure the audio is real special.
No, you're fine.
Actually, really good.
And you know what? The time zone thing, it happens to the best of us. And you know what? We make it work. So no worries.
Yep. No, Easton's a dog. All right, we got that. Check that box. Easton, I got to ask you, we're talking about this matchup. All right, the Titans. Can you give us an update on some of the guys that might not be available this week? L'Jarius Sneed, we just saw, did not practice. Will Levis, limited participation. Can you give us an update on maybe some key guys that could play, could not play?
Sure. Do you guys hear all the air horns? What's going on?
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a thing or okay. That's crazy. All right. Sure. Does it just go forever? What?
No, we can't hear it. You're good.
Yeah. It's gone now. Okay. Whatever. All right. Yeah. Updates. So, quarterback. Let's start there. It's going to be Mason Rudolph this week. I have that on good accord. Haven't really published that anywhere, but I'll just give you guys a little sneak peek into what we're going to find out tomorrow when we talk to Brian Callahan. It's going to be Mason Rudolph this week. He just needs another week, and this is a back-to-back road trip for the Titans that is really tough for a team that's struggling at the Bills, at the Lions. Doesn't make sense to get him back in there yet, so it's going to be Mason Rudolph now. Whether or not you think that makes your job easier or harder is depending on who you're asking. L'Jarius Sneed, that's an interesting one. I don't have any information on that one besides the fact that he has not been to practice this week. He's a veteran. He's somebody that, could not practice all week and then decide that he's going to play on Sunday. We'll know more about that tomorrow midday. And then some other guys. I'm trying to think who else is on the injury report. T'Vondre Sweat, the standout rookie. I don't expect him to be an issue. Not really anybody else big that is questionable this week off the top of my head. The 1B running back, Tajay Spears, he's definitely a TBD guy. Not sure that it's going to matter. Tony Pollard certainly playing really good ball, so with or without him, that shouldn't be that big of an issue, but that's who comes to mind.
Easton, I want to just bring up offensively. I think that's your guys' defense there in Tennessee has been extremely good this season, but just offensively, obviously on our end, we've lost Aiden Hutchinson. Josh Pascal has missed practice all week with an illness. Marcus Davenport out, John Kaminsky. We've lost everyone on this defensive line. Where do you see just offensively, if there was a way the Titans to kind of get something going and keep up with this Lions offense and kind of stay on track with them, how do you see that getting done? What weapons do you think need to step up? Can Mason Rudolph keep up with the Lions offense? How do you see that game plan working out offensively on Sunday?
Yeah, you've lost all those guys, and that sucks long term. This week it's not going to matter. I'm not a I'm not a definitive guy. My favorite thing about the NFL, and I talk about it all the time, is that it's an any given week league. The beauty of it is that anybody can beat anybody at any given time. It really is the world's greatest reality TV show. But there are some exceptions. This is an exception. The Lions are gonna kill the Titans. It just is the way that it is. The Titans defense will probably put up a good fight. To your point, they are a genuinely good unit. And if you paired them with a strong offense, they'd be a team that we'd have an interesting conversation about. But offensively right now, this team is still just really figuring it out. And the defense, I expect to probably put up a fight. Listen, the Titans, so at A to Z, I do a pregame, halftime, and then a postgame show. And we have had, I think, of the six games they've played, I think 5 of them at halftime, the Titans have had a lead. And so we've done a show talking about the Titans being in the lead, and then it's really fallen apart down the second half. So genuinely won't be surprised. The Titans are well within range or tied or even leading the game at halftime. But every week it's not mattered. It falls apart eventually. And that's just in large part the defense just not being able to sustain that level of play all game on the field all the time kind of deal. Now with the Lions, fellas, I'm not trying to pump you up too much, but I watch a lot of tape. I watch the entire league. They are they are the best team I've seen on tape this year. I think that I don't think there's any team in the NFC at this moment that's particularly close to the Lions. I think that they're playing on a different level right now, which is super cool. And they're the team that my whole life, just personally, I've been rooting for in the NFC because my mom and her whole family is from Michigan. And so it's most Thanksgivings, for me, it's been just sitting around really sad relatives. And recently it's been sitting around really excited relatives. So that's super cool. And I love the Lions are like a super feel good story. So awesome time to be a Lions fan. But to your question, which I've vamped on here long enough, if the offense were to figure it out, it would be because the bones of this offense that Brian Callahan has installed are good. The scheme is working. It is getting guys open. I mean, like Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, these guys aren't slouches. They are good NFL receivers. When you watch the tape, they're open. The Titans have a trio of genuinely talented tight ends. And then we know Tony Pollard's got a swag back this year. So, like, weapons-wise, they've got the dudes. And then they've got a really young offensive line that has not been good, but what we wanted to see with the Titans, because they're coming from the depths of hell offensive line-wise, is every week just getting better. And that has been the case so far. So that's a good thing. And each week they are getting better and better. And I'd imagine against the depleted Detroit defensive line, they may look good this week as well. I still don't think it'll matter, but if it does, it's going to be Mason Rudolph playing a career game. It's going to be the scheme finally just clicking. It's kind of that voodoo situation where we've seen teams in the past with new offenses or a lot of new pieces, like it takes a while, and then just for some reason it clicks one week. And maybe this is that week. I really doubt it, but maybe it is. And I think the Titans' path to victory in this game, a very, very narrow path to victory, involves a lot of help from the Lions, and just Jared Goff having one of those Jared Goff games out of nowhere. He's been so good this year. I'm not anticipating it, but that's kind of my feel for the game.
Great stuff, Easton. Appreciate you joining the show as well. You just mentioned the depleted Detroit Lions defensive line, and everyone in Detroit, everyone across America, if you pay attention to football, know that that's the case. But there has been some rumors, especially with Terrell Williams now in Detroit, that one of those front seven guys for the Titans and Harold Landry could be on the move this deadline. One, do you think it's likely that he gets moved? And two, do you think there's a possible link that he gets moved to the Lions?
Sure. I mean, on paper, it makes the most sense, right? Losing Aiden Hutchinson, which is so painful, and then the connections there with Coach T, it makes a lot of sense. It all depends on how desperate the Lions are internally, really, because I don't think the Titans are averse to selling him, but they aren't in fire sale mode in the sense that they're just, this is not a blue light special. They're not giving away guys. And so Landry is under contract. He's a relatively movable piece because while he is under contract longer than just this season, there's a built-in out where a team that were to trade for him this year would essentially have a 1-year rental guy that they could easily move on from next year for basically no harm. I don't see them moving him for anything less than a day 2 pick, though. So if the Lions have a 2 or a 3 that they're willing to give away for a genuinely talented edge rusher, then it could happen. But I don't know. Maybe I think you guys might have a better feel for that than I do in terms of whether or not the Lions really feel desperate right now to go get a guy that is really playing good ball right now. I mean, it would not be a fleece job for the Titans to get a 25 third or a 26 second for Landry. That'd be market value. It'd be an even trade. I just don't know if they feel like they have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up, Easton? I just got to ask you real quick about Will Levis. I know he's not playing this week, but what are your, obviously kind of a disappointing second year for Will Levis. He balled out at Kentucky. Day 2 pick. I think he fell to you guys. I was high on Will Levis coming out of Kentucky. Has that ship sailed, or is that someone you think the Titans are gonna stick with, or do you think they're gonna go after a quarterback in this draft, which is kind of a weak quarterback draft? So do you think Will Levis is part of their future plans?
Does he stink, Easton? Does he stink?
I mean, this year he has stunk. So just in terms of like the production this season, he has stunk. Whether or not he's always and forever going to stink, I don't know. And I've talked to some folks in the building. I've had some private conversations that I won't divulge the details of. But in terms of the ship sailing on them continuing to let him play this season, it has not. They're going there. I mean, this team has been steadfast in their belief in letting this season be a trial for him. And by season, I mean the season until the end of the year. So I don't, and that's something they said publicly. And then I've pushed that privately via text, via call. That genuinely is how they feel. They're going to sink or swim on the Will Levis ship. And that makes sense, right? Just in terms of the long-term health of this team from a process standpoint, why would you not live or die by Levis? Because you get what you need going forward either way. If he works, you have your franchise guy, and if he doesn't, you're set up for the next situation. If Mason Rudolph's going to win you more games than Levis down the stretch, what does that provide you besides slightly less depressed fans this year? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And so they're rocking with Rudolph right now because Levis is legitimately injured. You've seen stuff about like, is this a soft benching? I think it's a convenient side effect of the fact that he's hurt. Is that, I'm not going to divulge the specific details, but I will say that I have had conversations with maybe the highest ranking coach on this team about how maybe this little break for him will be a nice reset. And so that's a nice little side effect, but it's not that they're doing it because of that. He is legitimately unable to play right now. And so they're going to see, and maybe he'll have 9 games left when he comes back, assuming this is the last week he's out to make his case, and maybe it clicks eventually, but so far not good.
Yeah. One last question for you, Sim. Appreciate you, by the way. I want to ask the offensive line issues. Right tackle's been kind of been tough for
That's
you guys.
Pretty much it, brother.
Yep. So give me your thoughts on just the offensive line matchup with some of the interior guys for the Lions, because Aleem McNeil is going to be counted on heavy. They have DJ Reader, even though they don't have Aiden. So kind of your thoughts on that matchup, and then also your score prediction.
Sure. Long term on this offensive line, I think that they genuinely have answers at 4 of the 5 positions. J.C. Latham, the first round rookie, looked really good. Really, I have no concerns about him long term. On and off the field, he's been great. I think he's going to continue to develop. I think he's going to be a left tackle option for this team for the foreseeable future, which is a huge deal. Left guard, you've got Peter Skoronski, former first round pick. He is somebody that I almost love. I was talking to some coaches a couple of days ago about him, and he is 95% of the game he is everything in a bag of chips, and then 5% of the game you're like, why is this god athlete on his butt? So I think he'll eventually figure it out, and him and Latham over there on the left side, I ultimately not super concerned about long term. Skoronski just needs to be more consistent. They went and they paid for the highest paid, in my opinion, best center option on the free agent market this offseason in Lloyd Cushenberry. He has been fine. He has not super impressed me. He has not disappointed me. He has just been fine. I think that there is a ceiling for him to continue to get better. We'll see if that is achieved. And then at right guard, they have been playing Dylan Radins, who was a second-round pick from a couple of seasons ago, was a tackle in college, but they've been playing him inside for most of his NFL career. And I think they have something in him as a guard. He wasn't drafted to be a guard, so that's a disappointment, I guess. But again, from left tackle to right guard, you're set up. And then there's right tackle. And that is a nightmare. It's Chernobyl over there. It's awful. It's super duper bad. The Lions are going to kill whoever is playing over there all day long. They have 3 guys they've been kind of rotating. One got word today that he's probably headed to IR, so maybe it's down to 2 options. Nicholas Petit-Frere is the guy that played most of last game because the guy that they were playing got hurt on the 4th snap of the game. He came in, was the starter to begin the year. They benched him because he is maybe the weakest 300-pound man on the planet. He has his anchor doesn't exist. It's really frustrating, and I know talking to coaches, they're very frustrated because he has the physical ability, but I don't know, mentally his anchor, he can't play not on his heels. And so whoever the Lions line up against him is going to bull rush the crap out of him, and it's going to be successful, and it's going to be a problem for the Titans' offensive operation there. So that's the situation with the offensive line. Score prediction, the line all week, it's been like 11, 12, 12 and a half, somewhere in that range. I don't know what off the top of my head, I've not looked at the total, but I'd imagine it's somewhere in the mid 40s, maybe 44, 45, something like that. Man, I certainly like the Lions to cover in this game.
I love the honesty here, Easton.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. And listen, I'm divulging too much, but frankly, I don't care. I've had conversation, like, all Titans fans see this as a nightmare game. Anybody that knows ball just generally and have watched the games, have watched the tape, know this is a nightmare matchup for the Titans. Not just from the fact that one team good, one team bad, but like the just matchups make, styles make fights kind of deal. Even if they were relatively evenly matched teams, generally, I still think the way that the Lions play ball is a bad situation for the Titans, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, I've had some private conversations this week where it's like, even internally, this is seen as a nightmare situation. So, I'll say Lions win. I mean, I think it'll look a lot like the Titans and the Bills last week. I'll say Lions win like 35-14, something like that.
Give me that. Give me that.
Yeah.
Relatively sweat-free day for the Lions. You'll get to see a little volunteer legend Hendon Hooker play in this game, perhaps. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it'll be one of those.
Wow.
You know what? Yeah, you got a lot of grit, Easton. You're covering a bad team. I got a lot of respect because we obviously the Lions just started being good. So
Sure.
I still have respect for the local beat writers, but people that have been covering this team while they were shit. You're doing great work, my friend, and I appreciate you for joining the show, man. You guys can follow Easton on X at Easton Freeze. Check out his stuff. I'm sure he'll be tweeting a lot this week up until the game. Find out more information. But good luck this week, Easton, and I appreciate you, my guy.
Anytime, fellas. It was a pleasure.
There you go.
Appreciate it, Easton.
Check him out. Easton Freeze, doing some great work from the car, being honest. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, FisherCTSports.com.